in order to narrow down what I consider to be success people, I even consider people who could be contributing either through entertainment or contributing to the world through entrepreneurship and through business. So any field I really considered, and then I wanted to see, who would I consider to be on the top. So there's some of the habits that I learned actually are from Jeff Bezos, Warren Buffett, Oprah Winfrey, Elon Musk, Steph Curry, LeBron James. So these are some of my favorite people to and see what they're doing, kind of to understand their mindset. How do they actually see, not necessarily their practices necessarily, but to understand like how do they see the world? How do they, what type of habits do they have? So that's why I kind of examined and started to make comparisons and started to recognize a specific pattern. And I realized, like I said before, studying the best is the best way to, become the best. So one of the main things I recognize about them is that they have a uncanny ability to kind of develop, know what, habits that are good for you and started to develop them. So one of the things that I really like, to use example is LeBron James, is because he didn't have a privileged life coming up, but he developed over time really positive habits like working hard, working out, and setting goals and things like that. So one of the main things I realized about successful people, they have some sort of a system to develop habits, even though they might not be 100% successful. Knowing and having a system to develop positive habits, it's key. Right. So one of the main ways that I've kind of tested out with my clients to figure out, I'll talk about obviously more positive habits and things like that. But if you do have, so even some of the habits that we will be talking about in this session, if you want to implement them, there are very specific way to do that. So one of the main ones that I can give you example how I started to the practice of journaling. Right. So journaling is not something I used to do all the time before, but I realized during my research is a very valuable practice. So instead of journaling, about writing about my life, I started to focus on writing, journaling about what I'm planning to do for the day for about, 2 to 3 minutes, right? So starting, making a list of habits you really want to develop, and then starting really small. Really small is key. So even when it comes to like exercising, and if you haven't been exercising and you want to get into the habit, start with 3 minutes or 3 sets for the 7 days, and starting really small, it seems to be a really important tactic, and then building consistency over with that small amount is key. And I realize that when I'm doing research is that the level of consistency for your development matters more than level of intensity. So that's something for you to kind of keep in mind when you're developing yourself. So when you're having a hard time developing a specific skill or habit, don't be hard on yourself. Know that it's going to take some time. You need to consciously act on it. And if you fall back, if you stop, start back up again immediately on the habit, especially if they're positive for you, right? Because as I can tell you, it's like even small positive habits like goal setting, journaling can have a remarkable impact on your life in the long run. So these are the things that I started to see more and more in people. Okay, so that's a very important one. So people also ask me like, how do I have a bad habit? How do I replace it or get rid of that? The best thing I can tell you is more than trying to get rid of your bad habit, try to substitute with positive habits. So, if you're, spending a lot of time watching TV, think about joining a dance class or joining a sport or something like that. So fill your day with as much as you can things that you are excited for, activities you are excited for. And I had the same problem with actually oversleeping as well. But when I started to like set goals that I really love and really enjoy, I started to wake up to do them in the morning, right? So things like that, right? So that's one of the main things I can tell you when it comes to developing positive habits and letting go of bad ones, is to really fill your day with positive habits that you really do enjoy, and then keep expanding them throughout your day. And then you will start to see a lot of progress and growth in that. Okay.